Hi everyone, Katie Sutton here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy, live with your March 2022 energy update. Got 4 themes that I would like to share with you this month. The first is clearing battle energy. The second is the dream space. The third is releasing past disappointments. And the fourth is emotional empowerment. So stay tuned for the rest of the energy update. Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. If you're watching this, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our page so you get all of these updates. Help us to turn this technology algorithm into medicine here on YouTube and in the social media realms. So let's talk about the energies of the month. I hope that February was okay for you. We moved through a lot of transition and a lot of change. I know that for me, the portal that we experienced from 2/2 to 2/22 was very extensive in what it brought up and what it cleared out. And there's a lot of things changing and shifting for all of us at this time, and a lot of big energies and emotions coming up to be cleared and processed. So if I could summarize the energies of this month, it would be emotion. Emotion like the ocean, I think. So we are in Pisces season, and Pisces season is oftentimes about the emotions, the dream space, our intuition. And so a lot of the things that I'm going to talk to today about the themes make sense, but I feel that we have an expanded ability to be in our emotional body this month where maybe we haven't had that much access in past years. So even if this Pisces season feels somewhat familiar, there will be an expansion that happens in some of the ways that we participate in our emotions in our lives. So the first theme that I want to talk with you about is clearing battle energy. You could also perhaps call this clearing war energy. And, you know, there's a lot happening on the world stage right now that is impacting this particular theme. And certainly we're seeing some power struggles and some things shifting on the main stage. But we also are, I think, going to be seeing that happening in our own internal landscape as well. So, you know, a lot of my teachings are about masculine and feminine balance. And one of the things that I'm seeing is that this month we're going to be asked to clear the battle energy that exists between the masculine and feminine in our own lives and our personal landscape. And the way that I've been seeing that come up with myself and other people when I'm in session is that the feminine parts of us, which are our emotional body, our intuitive body, our energy body, have really not had enough space to be fully present in our lives. And our internal masculine, which is our physical body and our mental body, has often shut that down. And this is something that I talk about quite a lot. And I'm witnessing that there's a new level of harmonization that's trying to come into these energies. And in order for that to happen, the feminine parts of us, the emotional body parts of us, have to be fully seen and fully experienced and processed and witnessed and sat with. And oftentimes, many of us have internalized some of the toxic masculine energy that exists on our planet, where we're asked to do more and be more in effort and get more done and not feel. And so right now, there's this kind of internal battle that many of us have been waging our whole life of this push-pull energy. And sometimes that presents as anxiety in the body or frustration or anger or different things that come to the surface because we really haven't been able to process what we need to process because we have so many things that have happened to us in our individual lives and in the collective experience that need to be felt at a deep level in our emotional body. And so this battle energy that I see clearing out is that battle of, oh, I'm not going to feel that. Oh, I'll make time to feel that next week. Oh, I'll drop into that later. I'm witnessing that that's not really a conversation that we can be having right now. It's going to be even harder this month to push those things aside. They're going to be right at the surface, and your body and your mental body is going to be saying, hey, like, we need to deal with this. This is really important. We need to feel this. And so this internal battle energy that we're working out, you may also be clearing some wounds that you experienced as a child and witnessing the dynamic between your mother and father, right? Or the masculine and feminine dynamic that you witnessed growing up. If there was a lot of battle and a lot of conflict energy, or one party didn't feel heard and the other was upset about that, then you're going to probably be working out some of those paradigms within your own field. Because last month we did a lot of work around clearing the mother wound and being able to step out of carrying that with us. And that is opening the door for us to learn how to mother ourselves. And so we've got to clear this battle energy so that we can really nurture these parts of us that need to be seen, because there's empowerment in those parts. There's wisdom in those parts. So that's the first theme that I really wanted to talk about. The second theme is the dream space. And, you know, Pisces season is a lot about dreams and interpreting dreams, and mine have already kicked up. It's just March 1st, and I had 3 dreams last night about different things that were really big things that are happening in my life that need attention. And so the dream space is going to be supporting us in bringing some of this battle energy to the surface this month. But there's another part to the dream space that I just want to talk about. And so let's talk about manifestation for a moment. So when we're manifesting something, we're often daydreaming it into being, right? We're visualizing it, we're trying it on, we're feeling what it might feel like to have that thing or to be in that situation or that relationship or that new paradigm that we're trying to manifest. And so the dream space is even in the daytime, we have access to begin to manifest things on the ethereal plane. And it's, when we're doing that, we're really setting this huge template of things that we want to dream into being. And what I'm witnessing with my clients is that we are bringing things into being that are so much more expanded than they ever have been, right? Like the things that my clients are wanting to dream up and wanting to bring into their life are so huge that we have to make space for them to land. And so I really see that this kind of clear out and clean out that we're doing this month in the emotional body and this dream space access that we have is really opening up this space to expand our manifestation capabilities. But we're going to have to do a little work to actually receive the things that we're dreaming into being. There's some old things that we may have to let go. Because think about it, if you're dreaming something much bigger than you've ever had, and your life is still holding on to the construct of where you came from and what you had before, you're going to have to open some space for that to land, for that to come in. And so we're really going to be working with this dream space theme this month, not just in our sleeping hours, but in what we're daydreaming into being. And when you're in that place, it's really easy to kind of get lost in it. So some of the Pisces energy takes us into being lost in that dream space. But what I want you to use it for, if you can, is this ability to feel into what it is that you want to create. And are you in alignment with receiving that now? Right? Do you feel in your body that there's enough space in your life for that thing to come in? If you want to do something different in your work or your career, is there enough space in your life for that to manifest? Have you let go of enough? Have you made the space for that to come in? And so, as we're building these templates of what we want to manifest on the etheric plane and in the dream space, we may try on a lot of different solutions before we find the one that says, oh, that feels right. I feel like I can align into that. I can be present in that and feel what that would feel like. And I feel like there's enough space for me to have that now, right? And the moment that we kind of anchor into that and realize that, then it can manifest. So we're going to be doing some work to really get into alignment with what we want this month. And the third theme kind of will help with that. So the third theme is releasing past disappointments. So when we're trying to bring something new in, like the new earth, for example, and we're really hung up on how it didn't work in the past, where we've failed, where we've perhaps gone to war instead of making peace. If we get really hung up on all of those things and we haven't moved beyond those stories, and those stories and loops are continuously playing over and over in our life, then we can't manifest the next step. We can't manifest something different. So releasing past disappointments, whether that's in relationship, in work, career, in family, in how your body feels, in your health, wherever you have a story that says, oh, I will never move beyond this because I'm still stuck in what happened last time, we have an opportunity this month to feel that and let it go, to close the door on those chapters, because we've moved mountains in the last couple of years. None of us are the same as what we used to be, right? We're in a different frequency, we're in a different way of being. But if you're still operating on that old record and expecting the same things to happen, you're going to keep getting the same things. And this feels especially important in relationship. I know for me, I've been examining a lot of places where I've been in partnership and it hasn't succeeded, or it hasn't felt good, or I've felt taken advantage of. And it's really easy, I think, as humans, for us to stay in those stuck places and keep expecting that everybody's going to show up that way. But we have no room for anybody to surprise us if we don't let go of those past disappointments. And, that doesn't mean that we don't hold boundaries. This is not about going in and forgiving everybody and then re-engaging with them. If you've moved on from that relationship, it's probably for good reason, right? But that doesn't mean that the next person you meet or go into friendship with or go into partnership with is going to be the same, right? If you've changed, then likely what you're going to manifest has changed. And if you find yourself back where you were before, it's important to not go down that rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, I'm doing it again. Because if you do and you go into judgment, then you're going to get lost in the despair of that and not be able to shift out of it. You have so much power. You're able to change things in an instant when you change your mindset and change the way that you're showing up and change your vibration. And so you are not powerless in any of this. You can make new decisions. You can, in a moment, set a boundary that you've never set before and start fresh in a new way. And so it's important that we let go of the past and we claim where we're headed going forward. And so let's talk about the fourth theme. So I mentioned that we are going to be working a lot with our emotional body this month. And emotional empowerment is what I'm calling this theme, and this is what we're going to focus on in the Healing Circle. So emotional empowerment, to me, as it's been coming up in session as well, is this understanding that we can feel our feelings, we can be present with them, we can honor them, we can emote them, and when that process is complete, we can pick everything back up and move forward with more space. So when we are in resistance to the emotional body, we are in resistance to the feminine. And when there is resistance to the feminine, there are other ways that that part of us tends to get our attention. So I mentioned earlier, like anxiety in the body and the high heart, tension in the body, pain in the body, relationships not working out because there's conflict coming up, because there's something that we haven't felt and something that we haven't dealt with. There's a lot of ways that if there's a lack of emotional empowerment, that begins to manifest. And so the mechanics of the emotional body is that it exists in the sacral chakra. And on this planet, at least in most parts of the world on this planet, we have a very difficult relationship with the sacral chakra. It's also where our sexuality, our passion comes from, right? Our creativity comes from. And we are often so tamped down and pushed under in that part of our field that we don't have a lot of empowerment energy running in the sacral chakra. That's where our emotional body lives. That means that we're also not empowered to feel the bigness of life, right? When we're moving from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness, we are going to do that through the emotional body. We're going to do it through feeling. Repressing our feelings is going to keep us more separated from one another and take us out of unity consciousness. The feeling parts of us is what is going to carry us into the next frequency. So we're being asked this month to step into more empowerment in that emotional body and to really understand our emotions and how we tick within our emotional landscape. And every single one of us is different. No two of us are doing it the same way, and that's exactly the way it's supposed to be. But if you find that you don't ever feel anger, you don't ever feel sadness, you only ever feel maybe peace and neutrality, maybe there's a part of your emotional body that isn't empowered. Because part of being here in this human experience is to feel all these big feelings. When I channel my guides, they often tell me, Katie, like, you guys have so much access to such feeling that is limited for us because we're in a higher frequency where that is less indicative of our experience. And so we kind of have a blessing here. I know sometimes if you're an empath like me, it might feel like a curse. And maybe you've spent your whole life trying to repress the emotions of yourself and others so that you don't have to feel everything. But it is really a gift, right? Being able to have this emotional experience is a gift. The times when I've felt the best in my life is right after I've had a big emotional release, right? Whether that's on my own or in front of a group of people and I've just let it flow. That's when the power rushes in. That's when the feeling of connection rushes in. That's when source makes itself known to me. It's always been through the emotional body that I've been able to feel that. I've never been able to feel it to that degree in any other way. And I think that that's part of a key for us. That when we step into saying, gosh, emotions are great. Having emotions are great. Having balanced emotions are great. When we can step into that knowing and be in our emotional empowerment, it's going to open the door for so many more experiences and so much more connection on our intuitive landscape as well. And being empowered in your emotions doesn't mean that you feel everything and you just get snowed under, okay? That's not what I mean. Feeling it with such intensity and clarity and honoring it, that may be a very fast process. There's times where there's a huge emotion that comes up, and if I allow myself to fully drop into it, that process is over in 1 or 2 minutes, right? It doesn't take a long time. So part of it is that some of us maybe have felt too much. Maybe we've felt on behalf of others because we're afraid to feel our feelings, which is often what happens with empathy. Either way, we're going to kind of come into the middle road within our emotional body and be in an empowered place. Okay, that's what we're headed to. And I think even though if this may be a little intense for some of us, especially if you've been repressing things and you realize this month, oh, I didn't even know all that was there, right? And it comes to the surface. My invitation to you is to surrender to that, right? To surrender to that process and not try to control it. I said to a client this morning, working with the emotional body is like working with a beautiful feminine woman who is getting ready for dinner. You don't want to rush her. You want to give her plenty of time to do it in her own way so that you have the best experience possible. It's the same thing with the emotional body. It needs space. It needs time. You can't put it in a box, right? It can't be contained in that way. So being in an emotional empowerment place is realizing that. And realizing that it's okay, right? It's okay that it can't be contained. And, I think that we have this view on this planet that if you're a leader or a way shower or a guide or whatever title you want to put on it, that you have to be perfectly stoic and serious all the time. But every good teacher that I've ever had feels their feelings and is in their silliness as much as they are in their sadness, right? And they're really moving through it and authentically doing the work. And I think each of us have an invitation to be leaders in our own life and leaders in our own circles and show people, oh yeah, look, she's human. She feels her emotions. She's had a bad day too. She's not perfect, right? So being in that emotional empowerment place is what our invitation is this month. And as I mentioned, I'll be covering that in this month's Healing Circle on March 9th. And, if you're not a member of the Healing Circle, you can subscribe or you can just join a single month, and I'll put the information below this video for all of that. And I also have a very special 3-day intensive coming up as well. And it really kind of ties into some of these themes that I talked about this month in terms of empowerment and being kind of in the now and manifesting our future. It's called Channeling the Ascended Masters. And this is my first class that I'm doing just with the Ascended Masters. And if you don't know what that is, Ascended Masters are beings who walked on this earth and then ascended, right? That made a huge impact. So Yeshua or Jesus, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Goddess Isis, Master Tehote or Master Thoth from Egypt, Merlin, Saint Germain. These are beautiful beings who incarnated and then have ascended. And some of them never actually came into the physical before they ascended, but that's a whole other category that I will get into in the class. But these are beings that hold this vibration of the new earth template that we're headed to. They already see it. Have already been witness to it in another timeline and are holding that frequency for us. And really, this class isn't just about connecting with them and receiving information from them, although that's always wonderful. This is about them working with us, and they're going to do this through different rays of color to actually anchor our own ascended master frequency. Because we are being asked to be masters of our energy field, masters of our life going forward. And so this is really about us embodying that frequency of the ascended master. And that feels really big, right? To even talk about that. And it's taken me a long time to work up to being able to teach this class because there's so many big things that are coming in for it. But I think this is what is needed now, right? We need a new level of empowerment. A lot of us who are doing this spiritual work, we've been doing it for a long time. And I know some of you are maybe new to this and you're just waking up. This is a frequency that if you are ahead of somebody that is not aware of what's happening on this planet yet, you're a leader. You're a way shower, right? And so when you can kind of be the master of your energy field, and this doesn't mean being perfect, right? I think we hear the word master and we think perfection. That's not what it is. It is truly about being able to kind of be so present in our experience and own what's happening for us and kind of master that. And when we can do that, we then open the door for other people to do the same. And so we're releasing a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hierarchy energy, a lot of patriarchal energy in this program so that we can make space to really be present as the divine beings that we are. Doesn't mean we're perfect, right? The ascended masters weren't perfect either, right? Before they ascended, they weren't perfect. And so we have an opportunity now to really lean into some openness that is available to us in this connection to source, this connection to our ascended master frequency. And so we'll be working a lot with color, a lot with light. There's very specific teachings that are coming through for this, but it will be very experiential. So that is March 22nd through 24th. It's a 3-night channeled intensive, and it will be recorded if you can't join all the classes live. And I'll have information about registering for that below this video. So I hope you all have a really amazing March. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of this community. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can turn this channel into medicine and bring it out to the world. We are so excited to be offering this to you, my guides and I, offering these bits of wisdom to you every month. And thank you for tuning in. So have a great March, and I'll see you next month.